So let me disabuse your mind about this. There are actually two groups there. The group of the yellow who cannot accept defeat. So they keep on making noises and making contacts with this lady there. I will not mention her name because she's a lady. And she only made it big because she married an American, a black one, millionaire, and she inherited the money. And now she's talking as if she's I said, I would like to, I take your questions, but let me just end my story because I like this dates which he said when he was the President of the United States of America. And he's also one of the few heroes that I have in mind. One is Rizal, my father, then this guy. And he said, if I were to try to read, much less answer all attacks made on me, this shop might as well be closed for any other business. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep doing so until the end. If the end brings me out all right, what is said against me won't amount to anything. But if the end brings me out wrong, then angels of God swearing I was right would make no difference. Abraham Lincoln. Great statement left behind. And for me, I just two. There was this saying in the YMCA dormitory. And it's always there, and I've memorized it over time. And he said that, I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that I can do to any fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. So for those of the bad guys, putang ina, papatayin ko talaga kayo. Really. For all of the gangster and with the ill intentions of this republic, do not try to fuck it, guys. You lose not only your pants but your life. I will not hesitate. If it is my country, the interest of my country and the people, if it's the one at stake, you can be very sure I have no doubts in my mind that I know what I should do. The threat of drugs and terrorism is very real. If the ISIS loses the land mass and if they are driven out, they will start to spread around the world. And they've always dreamt of this caliphate in Southeast Asia, and obviously it's Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines because of its Muslim population. I'm not saying the Moros, they do not have anything like that, except the Maute who said that they have pledged allegiance to. Terrorism is very real. And if finally the ISIS is defeated, it will just sprout everywhere, just like any revolution, because it's a dialogue. What happened before in Malaysia, many never got it really correct. What happened in the southern states, including Mindanao, Malaysia, there was this resurgence of Moro nationalism because they are the originals there in Mindanao. When Magellan said arrive, Mindanao was already 100 years ahead. At my postisla, there was a post in the fight against imperialism, the Spaniards and the Americans. Islam was their rallying point. So that thing there is not new. It's not really a rebellion of, it's the resurgent Moro nationalism. It was their land. So that you have to make concessions. Now, believe me, the barest minimum would be really federalism. And mark my word, I would not be here for all the time. If we do not adopt federalism, there is no way that peace can be attained in Mindanao, now or in the future. That's why those who are resisting federalism, because you want to maintain the unitary type, which is actually a structure for despots and kings and authoritarianism. And I don't know why the Americans, when they left us in 1946, coming from a federal country, did not give it to us. Was it because of the parity rights which they were interested? Because it was attached in that Constitution that the Americans would enjoy the same privileges to exploit and develop natural resources, just like a Filipino. Or it was really with the good intentions, and we are an island separated from one another, 7,000 of it actually. It would be good to have a strong president. But if I may suggest, I'm telling you now, and you have my word, if they can come up next year or the sooner, whatever, 2-3 years from now, my term is 6 years. But if they can craft a constitution creating a federal setup, a country, and providing for a strong president, just like the type which France has, then I am willing to step down without waiting for the 6 years. Because then I said you would need a president. It is not good for a pure parliamentary type, just like in Britain, because it is not responsive at this time. Remember, the double-decker was blown up by the ISIS, maybe at that time already. Britain at that time could hardly move because of a parliament, and it's a collegial body and a collegial decision. So the Prime Minister could not even say a statement of why, where, how. It's not good. You know, in times of, you have to have a strong president, I said. A federal type, a strong president. You might want to just give him a few of the powers. 5 powers, but strong one. To dissolve the parliament, create a call for a constitution, be the commander-in-chief of all armed forces. Because you need it at this time in our life. And maybe 2 additional powers. But always there has to be a strong leader at this time. Cannot be a parliament or something which you have to discuss after. Belongs to one man. And it's all commander-in-chief. That is what I am advocating. But for me, I said, I told Senate President Pimentel, and they were here during the National Security meeting, and the Speaker, go ahead, make it fast. And if you can create that model 2 or 3 years, I will step down as President of this Republic. No problem. No problem at all. I said that. That's why I said, for those who are asking for my ouster, do not dream about it. Eventually, I will. If you do not like me, go for the federal type, and you are freed of my presence in government. I'd like that thing to disabuse the minds of the people and to remember it. I have no illusions at all. I'm good at this time already. When I go back there, I have to ride in that motorboat. I live in the small house there just across. I do not stay here because I said, they do not, the ghosts here do not wait for nighttime and darkness. They are there even in daytime, as early as 8 o'clock in the morning. And if I stay at the, I don't know where it is, you just might feel that someone is beside you. If it's a white lady, I will willingly oblige. The problem is when we begin to chat, there's a Caucasian there, because the one state there were the Spaniards and the Americans. You just find a man with the bird with the pipe in his mouth, and that would be scary. Most of the presidents here in the past were the Spaniards and the Americans. And there's somewhere these states where the mother of our national hero begged the Spaniard governor general at the time to spare his son's life. There's a place there where she knelt down and cried and pleaded for mercy. National hero natin. But the only thing about her is the memory. Otherwise, it's all wood. It's not a palace, actually. It's full of rooms there and there. But I'm glad that you have had the chance to visit me or the palace for the first time, whichever is convenient to you. To see me first or the palace, it's okay, but that is my story to you tonight. Thank you, and good night. Especially important questions of the day. Maybe the burning questions of the day. But the Constitution, I am ready to reverse the 60-40. As long as Congress is also ready, I will go along with it. But you know, there is something which is really it's a fundamental, reconcilable difference with me and some of the congressmen. Because even the speaker before, who was my political enemy, already agreed to sell lands to foreigners. I am sorry, but I am not ready for that kind of...
but I see no...
You know, because... I said, most of the Filipinos are poor. And with the growing economy of the super giant China and the rest, you know, they can always come here and buy the land. And they can buy the whole of Tondo and relocate. And we end up with nothing and everything sold. So paano tayo? In the future, we'll be standing or living on a lot of a subdivision owned by a foreigner. At this time of our financial life and civilization, you can easily sell the land, even for a pittance. It would come to other people almost as free. And then what happens? Where will I go? If everything is already owned. Even if you say it's agricultural land, they can gobble it up. Even if you say that there's a term, this still, and there would be a time where we would have lost control over the lands. Yes, Peter.
Yeah, well, I agree with you on the changes in the Constitution. I think it's very important. What timing do you see to be able to achieve it, realistically, given a Congress that doesn't know how to do anything?
You know, given my term, 6 years, still very early, I can afford a constitutional convention. But just the same, everybody who has the money will prevail. And those who have the money will prevail. And you still have a convention that's really full of vested interest. Wala kang makuha dito because mahirap nga. Given the electoral experience of our country, we have not matured politically. And in an election, those who have the money and the connection and those who are the relatives of the incumbent congressman would still prevail. The wife, the daughter, the son again. And we will have almost a feudal setup ready to come up with a constitution. And to me, I would rather that maybe not me, but almost a commission of 7 justices or a mix of the lawyers. Ben Lopez could be one. And a commission, and they would write a proposal, a draft of the Constitution, and it will be submitted, the final draft would be submitted to Congress to debate on that. But never to change the things that you'd want. Because there is one contentious issue. If you call for a change in the Constitution, it's you open the floodgate. You cannot not control what matters to be changed, what are modified. But if they are ready to honor that we only change, put it off to some other time, the other items there. If they are willing, concentrate on the economic provisions. Maybe, I said, the equity can be increased to reverse 60-40 or 70 if it's a foreign corporation. But to sell the land, I will not. For the life of me, I will not agree to that. I will lose my country too.